Hey everyone, welcome to our show, Week in Review extended show with your host, that girl, Jenna Kirisawa. Today is November 7th, 2024. So we're going to be going through last week's podcast and discussions, and that was the 28th through the 30th of October. So a couple of highlights. I added some more information to one of the posts, and I also need to extend a sincere apology for all of the typos in the short story that I'm going to be talking about here momentarily. And yes, there is a hole in my cardigan. Anyways, so for our spiritual and social causes discussions for Mondays, again, that was the 28th of October, we talked about the Lego Movie 2. And with this particular podcast, it was a very sensitive and touchy subject matter. Everyone loves Lego. Well, I shouldn't say everyone, but it's a timeless classic. A lot of people like Lego. I like it. Watch the movies. My children love the Legos. This is not in any way trying to disparage the use of playing with these little bricks. Pretty awesome and totally encourage the creativity. They really have stood the test of time. Amazing craftsmanship, creativity through the roof, and it just helps encourage the STEM field, creativity, engineering, all of it. Like all of the above, I would say Lego is legit. With all that being said, the Debbie Downer, me, had interesting insights and observations from watching the second movie. The first one kind of escapes me. I watched the second one last year with the children, and I was trying to dismiss any of the things that stood out to me. So I waited a year. We checked out the movie again and watched it, and I didn't want to see any of the confirmations that I had seen, but it popped out to me, and I bring attention to some of the themes and subject matter within this particular podcast. So check out the link in the description to listen to that one in length, because lots of things have come out from that, but a couple of highlights I will make mention of. One of the objectives and the goals of the Lego 2 movie was essentially bringing unity, and that's a good thing, right? In essence, in theory. Since we're doing a spiritual causes discussions, and I lean more towards the Christian thought process with these discussions, that is my faith, conviction, and disposition. I couldn't help but bring to attention the reoccurring theme. I found this quote after I had posted the podcast. So I posted it today on it, and I'm going to read it for you guys because it was not on the original one. So it says, "The people who created the Tower of Babel show tremendous unity, but they were united against the will of God. It is better to be divided by the truth than united in error." This is, again, a very sensitive, delicate talking point, because we want world peace. We want unity. We don't want to see destruction and war. The thing is, though, we have to really, really be careful that we are aligned and in tune with the true intentions of what God the Creator wanted for His creation. They attempted to build a tower, not necessarily to get to the heights of heaven, but to obtain all the wealth of man's knowledge and have it in this one particular area, and essentially wanted to become their own God or overpower what God had done. And there's a lot more to it. This is just a quick little synopsis. It was for their own goals, their own ambitions, their own interest, and very, again, controversial subject matter. And I'm sure some of you are scratching your heads thinking that's kind of a leap from a children's movie for you to compare these innocent little Lego character creatures to what's happening in real life, where they're attempting to bring world peace and unity. And it's kind of far-fetched. You're a little bit out there. I realize that the average person who just wants to be entertained would think that, okay, you're a little bit out there with your thoughts. Understood. And I'm willing to grant you guys that it's a little bit of an extreme concept, but for those who know, you know. And for those who are searching for truth, understanding, and discernment, I think you'll understand where I'm coming from. So listen to the podcast in its entirety, check out the movie for yourself, and consider what has already happened in the Bible, when people attempt to do things in their own efforts, when they idolize themselves and their knowledge, And when you ignore sound doctrine, when you ignore basic principles, yes, we need to find peace and love. We also need to be careful that we're not being enslaved and held captive by a deceptive force that will take you out of alignment with what God had intended for your life. Because some things seem beautiful and happy and sunshine and rainbows, but you don't realize that that is just a trap to get you enslaved in something else that will keep you bound and separated from what was really intended for you. One of the other talking points we bring up is just the simple concept of people always chasing happiness, people always trying to chase that happy feeling, the constant need to fill in that empty void of space where I'm like, if I'm not happy, then something's wrong. We chase and try to pursue the happy feeling, not realizing or giving ourselves permission or grace not to always feel good. And that's not a problem. And I don't think enough people are encouraging our young people to just sometimes be bored, or sometimes, you have to deal with conflict, and sometimes things aren't always going to be happy, peaceful, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. And how do you work through conflict resolution and not to be manipulated by this idea of this creating this utopia, but missing the bigger picture and what we're supposed to be focusing our time here on Earth. So again, realize that it's very controversial. A lot of people probably won't agree with it, but again, I'll repeat it because if you know, you know. So with our business and tech talks discussions, this one's a little bit more fun. That was the 29th of October, and it was The Little Prince. And I can't say it in French, I won't try to, but it was a novella and then a little short book. Then they turned it into a film and did very, very well. The reason why I have brought this up with the business and tech talks discussion is because I think it's so important. But when we do wires, I like to kind of connect the different days together, like, wires connecting things together. So yes, it's important to be vigilant and careful not to get deceived and pulled captive by the enemy and his tactics. And part of that is also getting pulled into that 9-to-5 grind, the rat race, the hamster wheel, the I have to go to work to survive mentality, a wage slave, all of that stuff. Losing your sense of wonder, your childlike innocence, your passion, your reason for living, what makes life worth living. The arts, the writing, the music, the painting, the cooking, the woodworking, the stonemasonry, what have you. Oftentimes we get so focused on and we're stuck in survival mode that we miss out on the simple things in life, like sunsets and roses or friendships and true love. So with The Little Prince, with their business and tech talks, I wanted to remind all the business owners and small business owners and people who are out there working, living the American dream or American nightmare, depending on your perspective. You have to realize that we are all royalty, little princes and princesses. We've got our childlike spirit inside of us, and we can't lose sight of that. We need to remember, the aviator in the film, there's a quote, and it says, growing old isn't the problem, forgetting is. And yes, we need to be responsible. We need to work hard. We need to do what's right. Take care of what you got to take care of. And, sometimes it's not easy. It's not fun. You got to do it. With also in perspective and taking into account of stopping into enjoying life. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you working the way you're working? What is the reason? What's the point? Or are you going to look back in your memories and think about, all I did was survive? Or did you make this conscious choice and say, I'm going to change my perspective and change the trajectory of my life and find those happy moments and treasure them and seek after them and fight for them and to not lose that childlike spirit. So transitioning on to our Wednesday's health and well-being discussions with your host, Jenna C. Nutrition. So with this one, it was a little bit different. For me, I call it therapeutic writing. I love to write. I prefer writing actually more so than doing on-screen videos. I always have preferred being a behind-the-scenes person, but it's a lot faster and more expedient sometimes just to talk and get the video out there as opposed to writing, because admittedly I'm a perfectionist, yet kind of a sloppy, lazy one at the same time. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So, like I said, I need to make a sincere apology and announcement that I wrote that short story in a day, less than a day. Well, I started it one day and then continued it the next day. And there's a lot of typos. I've looked back and read it a few times. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of typos. And so for that, for people out there who are like really OCD and perfectionists, and the people who are like, who look down upon typos, yeah, my bad. My apologies for that. I need to go and clean that up. I will go back and re-edit that and get it fine-tuned, but I wrote it really fast, and I always want to share with you guys, sometimes you just got to jump into it, just do it. If you are a painter and you're not very good, you just love doing it, do it. Or, you know, if you said, I've been putting off this hobby for too long and I just absolutely love it, and I just want to just do it. You know, I'm tying all of these themes together where life is short, you know, this, at least at this point in life, and make some memories, make some things for your children to look at, back at, and your ancestors to smile upon, I guess, and just continue with the family tradition. Whatever it is that you're good at, you enjoy baking and cooking or grilling and barbecuing or drink making or quilting and sewing, pottery, if you like making short films, if you like writing poetry, like I like writing. I have a lot of short story ideas, and I told myself I wanted to do a short story contest, zombie apocalypse survival in your local library. Like, this is this synopsis, or the writing prompt. You're trapped in your local library during the zombie apocalypse. Read a short story. And I kind of joked about it with friends, and I think I've mentioned it to my local librarian once in passing, and I'm like, you know, I'm going to do it before Halloween. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm going to do it. I enjoy it. For me, it's therapeutic to just come up with a fun little concept, and it's entertaining and it's fun, and it's probably obviously not perfect. There's errors in it, and you know, but for me, for my sake, I enjoyed it. I had fun writing it, and I love sharing things like that with people. And I love watching movies, and Legos are cool. Music's awesome. We're allowed to enjoy this life, and we have talent, and I love to see what everyone else is out there doing. I love to try new food in restaurants and drinks, and I love to read what people have to share. I'm currently reading an autobiography right now, and the story is wild and it's awesome, and I love hearing people's stories. So I'm super excited when people have an opportunity to just have a moment of whatever their therapeutic talent or trait is, to do it. So that is where that short story idea came from. That is what I wanted to share for our health and well-beings, and I hope more people are encouraged out there to just kind of let loose and have some therapeutic painting or music session or something, or crazy baking. One day, I had shared this with my neighbors back in the day. We wanted to, instead of watching like Iron Chef or something, why can't we just have like a community potluck where it's, okay, we're going to pick a random theme ingredient. It's going to be asparagus. And everyone has to make a dish that has asparagus in it, something unique and original. And then we meet and everyone brings in their dish or some random thing that no one's ever had before, but we have to go do our own research, find our own recipe, make the dish, and then share it, and like literally have judges. So I'm like, why are we watching all this reality TV? Why can't we make it a reality in our own homes and just have fun with it? So that's what I wanted to do, suggest for people for, you know, again, for health and well-being. Make it fun, do something therapeutic, follow your passions, you know, find the balance between working hard and enjoying your life with loved ones, making memories, and also to be cautious, not because everything appears to be trending towards peace and unity, and to be very, very cautious and careful about that and use discernment and godly wisdom. So for those who know, you know. And with that, I've been your host, the tour guide. Shout out to my homeboy, Kanye, and the Wires. I hope you guys have a blessed day. And as always, thank you for tuning in. God's peace.